What up YouTube? Back with another video. I'm going to be reacting to ex-British Army, Paz49, saying travel warfare begins in England. Let's get straight into it.
Back, and thanks to everyone who recently subscribed to my channel and support what I do. I really appreciate it. Now,
I think I've been subscribed for a little while, but still, we'll go forward. No problem anyway. I don't mind subscribing to fellow channels on the same trajectory.
for years, I've been saying that this multicultural experiment in Britain was heading for disaster.
That's correct. I mean, because I was, I don't know, started coming on board of this train of thought around about, I don't know, say 2016, probably a bit before. Certainly by the time Brexit happened, and my fellow Remain voters started calling all the Leave voters racist. Essentially, like my family members and friends that were calling these names, and I was not on board with this rampant xenophobia that you're meant to be against. And then obviously, from then we've had this rampant migration into the country where they won't even stop the boats. Where I have pretty much nothing in common with any of those main types. But I'll not bore you with too much about me at the minute, just to give you a little where I'm coming from as I watch this video.
And for years, the usual gang of liars, left-wing celebrities, virtue signalling politicians, and BBC propagandists have been sneering that anyone who questions it is far-right or Islamophobic.
Yeah, it's same here. Like, as soon as in 2016, as soon as I returned fire on the leftists for things that were saying, started calling me far right and stuff. Like, well, if anything, I'm centre left. I'm not really, especially at that time. I'm not sure whereabouts I am now after my of recent encounter with the Holy Ghost. But yeah, I saw how easy they throw these words, and then we've all seen it up to the point now where the word racist no longer means anything. So anybody who is essentially really on the extreme ethno-nationalist side of things is that word would no longer work on them, which is unfortunate, because I am of the particular opinion that anybody who's flocking to the what are extreme positions of communist or ethno-nationalist are essentially living in a little bubble where that reality will not come to pass. The reality will still be somewhere in the middle. We're not going to deport everybody who came here since 1066, and neither are we going to have the communist utopia either. The line's going to have to be drawn somewhere in the middle, somewhere, and it seems both sides, to me anyway, are unwilling, and maybe the Civnats are being a little bit too soft at the same time.
Or people who just couldn't handle a bit of diversity. Well, guess what? The ordinary decent man in the street has had enough of keeping his head down, paying his taxes, and pretending everything's fine while the country he inherited is handed over piece by piece to people who despise everything it stands for. Until recently, even I thought full-scale civil unrest might still be avoidable. After all, the average Brit just wants to get on with his life, doesn't he? Or she.
And that has kind of been somewhat part of the issue, I think. Even being I was a centre-left liberal, really liberal, only slightly left-wing. I was always trying to tell people to stop voting for the two-party system, for Labour and Conservatives. This all just trying to get by in my life. So what you just described is why we're in this position, in my opinion, because everybody has just kept moving forward, voting for the same parties, creating strongholds like where I live, where there's no point voting either parties because your vote will win from the area that you're in. That's changed now, though. This last few years, everything's been shaken up. But this is, one of the reasons I made my channel as well, and hopefully we can discuss things and come to some sort of conclusion. And going to involve lots of bloodshed, hopefully.
For that matter, got to be fair, haven't I? Just got to work, pay the mortgage, have a pint or white wine or lemonade for the ladies, and not get stabbed on the way home. As long as the system could just provide.
But that attitude led to where those two things have been, I don't know, coincided with each other. Trying to just get by and have your lemonade has led to the migrants coming in, stabbing you, because being not paying attention. And even if I was somewhat confused about my argument in the past, at least I was still trying to speak out to people against the sort of current way things were organised. So, as a Christian now, though, I don't want to be like, haha, told you so. My intention is more to try and help fix problems in any way that I can.
For their basic needs, they'd grumble and put up with it. Turn the other cheek, keep calm, and carry on. It's the British thing to do. But that system is now facing an existential crisis, and everybody with eyes and a functioning brain can see it. The welfare state is buckling, the NHS is a joke, housing is a nightmare, crime is through the roof, and the one thing that was supposed to make it all worthwhile, enrichment, has turned out to be the biggest con job in British history. Well, that and the jab. You know what I'm talking about. We are importing.
In case anybody wants to know this about me as well, I know because obviously I'm anonymous, you won't know some things about me, but obviously some things I can tell you, and I am unjabbed. And I have yet to receive an apology from any of the jabbed. Told me that I was going to make everybody else sick twice past that time as well. I have been given the disease from people that were vaccinated as well, thus proving my point that it was not an actual vaccine. I don't know if I've just much to get this video taken down. Maybe I'm too small a channel for them to say at the minute. I said that, but anyway, make that note.
On an industrial scale, folks, large numbers of people from cultures that have zero intention of integrating, who regard our laws as optional, our women as fair game, and our tolerance as weakness. And when they act on those beliefs, grooming gangs, raping thousands of working class girls for decades, while police and councils looked the other way for fear of racism. What else? No-go areas, Sharia patrols, that's a thing. Demands for halal everything and prayer rooms in every public building. The authorities don't crack down, do they?
Yeah, I mean, just for a bit of nuance, I suppose anybody can use any of the prayer rooms. So if a Christian wanted to use it, can. Might be handy, if you want a quiet room praying. But I mean, the whole thing with being Christian anyway is that we can pray anywhere essentially. Don't have to face a certain direction. All way, as far as I'm aware, we don't even have to close our eyes as long as we are wanting to communicate with God. We can even pray in our heads. God can hear our thoughts. He knows what we're thinking. We can pray in our minds. That's one of the ways. Obviously, we can pray without people knowing what we're asking for, which can obviously be used by the enemy and whatnot to think you've prayed for something and the enemy put something in your path. So I mean that's my interpretation of faith so far anyway, and I certainly feel like I've prayed inside my head and God has hurt me, and it is primarily where I pray, especially if I forget and I've forgotten I'm laid in bed. Like, oh well, I'll pray now while I'm laid in bed, and God knows at least even if I've failed at it before I sleep, knows I am still doing it, making an effort, even if the effort is not as would be. But just for anybody who's come across my videos, I was only just given the new heart and filled with the Holy Spirit at December, so I'm quite new to being, on this path. You have to forgive me with my faith doesn't seem quite as disciplined as other people's at the moment.
They double down on the denial. They lecture us about community cohesion while British kids are terrorised in their own towns. They'll scream Islamophobia the moment anyone points out the obvious statistical patterns in grooming.
Yeah, and one of the things I like to point out to all the people that use the term gammon is that is an Anglophobic insult, and the leftists will never admit it, because they always like to shift the definitions. They are a lover of the, shifting of goalpost fallacy. I don't think that's the correct name. I think I've spoken a little bit there, but yeah, that does tend to be the case.
Knife crime or terror plots, and they operate a two-tier policing system so blatant that even the dimmest Labour voter can spot it. One rule for native Brits who dare to protest, another for the imported mobs who burn flags, block streets, and chant for the destruction of the very society feeding them. And that was coming to a head. Fighting is breaking out between British citizens and Islamic migrants in London and elsewhere. We all know it. We all feel it in our bones. The powder keg has been leaking for years and the fuse is lit. The UK is staring down the barrel of major civil unrest. Possibly worse. Call it civil war if you like. The semantics don't matter when our streets are on fire and our daughters aren't safe. This isn't far-right extremism, folks. This is ordinary people reaching the limit of what they can stomach. They've watched their country change beyond recognition in a single generation. They've seen politicians from Blair to Brown to Cameron to Starmer lie about small numbers and net benefits while the demographic transformation accelerated.
Yeah, and I will just say, I suppose, before I came, if I was making predictions about what was going to happen in the UK, I still kind of feel that would prediction, but I'm not making them predictions now anyway. I do hope that we can resolve things without things going hotter than what they are now. But we need our hands on the wheel and mass violence. I'm not 100% sure how that is managed. Maybe that's why I'm getting involved to find out better and we got a direction. It's my intention anyway. I do think God has pushing me in this direction. See how we can solve this.
We've seen the elite insulate themselves in gated communities and private schools, then call the rest of us bigots for noticing the consequences on the ground. The grooming gangs inquiry is finally happening, but years too late, with all the usual caveats and hand-wringing about uncomfortable truths. Too little, too late. The damage is done, isn't it? Trust is shattered. Legitimacy of the state is evaporating. And still the denial continues, doesn't it? Still the accusations of racism, still the imports keep coming across the channel, many of them fighting aged men with no skills except entitlement and grievance. Well, here's the reality. Delivered without the sugarcoating, of course. Britain didn't survive the Blitz, the Industrial Revolution, or 2 world wars just to surrender its identity to
and then sell it off as well.
A 7th century supremacist ideology that can't even coexist peacefully with itself, let alone with us. The ordinary man has been patient, he's been reasonable, he's been told to celebrate his own replacement as progress, but patience has limits, doesn't it? When the system no longer protects its own people, when it actively imports their replacement and punishes them for complaining, then that system loses the right to demand obedience. Civil unrest is coming. It's not what I want. Nobody wants this. This isn't the...
Yes, I mean, he's saying similar things that I was last year, but obviously now I'm not making predictions, but I wanted to know what my predictions were in the past. That was it.
Ending or the conclusion that anyone decent or civilized wants, but it's happening. It's gonna happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how bad. The spark could be another grooming revelation, another terrorist attack, another riot where the police stand by while British pensioners are attacked. When it happens, don't blame the far right. Blame the open border zealots, the cultural Marxists, the spineless Tories who enable it all, and the Labour ideologues who treat native Brits as the problem. We didn't ask for this, we didn't vote for it, but we'll all have to live the consequences or fight to change them. I don't like being a doom-monger. I hate giving you all bad news, but would you rather I lie and sugarcoat it for you and tell you everything's fine? This is where things are heading, folks. It's not pretty.
Yeah, I mean, largely, I'm in agreement, even though I don't want to get too much into fiction. If I don't know how to word this, because I was always, if in the scenario, then I know I don't want to make firm predictions like he is. If in the scenario that we do go to full-blown civil war, I think even though it's not part of the United Kingdom, it will come from the Republic of Ireland or even potentially Northern Ireland first. I kind of think that will be the powder keg, and it would spread into England and then France and Netherlands, Belgium. From they would see it almost become like a continent-wide thing once it starts somewhere, because it's like they all whole European area, particularly like northwestern Europe, is no, it's all sort of, while the differences might be manifesting differently, because they're all managing this issue slightly differently, we're all creaking under the same strain, and it would be my prediction that if a civil war occurs, it spreads from the island of Ireland, whether north or south, through the rest of northwestern Europe from there. That's what I would presume. But like I say, I would pray to God that we don't have to have a civil war, and that we can come out of this on his path with the United Kingdom remaining a Christian country and resolving these migration issues, because it cannot continue like this. I'll leave that there. Anyway, see you in the next video. And before I do leave, make sure you give Ex-Army Paz49 a subscribe. I'll leave the link in the description. And I will see you in the next one. Toodaloo.